Om Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Yeah. Yeah, this was the last one. Ananyah Chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam yaham. Uh, those whose mind, who think about me and not anybody else. Ananya chintayanto mam. Ananya, without other. With no other, they think only of me, constantly about me. Ye janaha, those people, pariyupasate, who worship me and not anybody else, or who are fixed upon my consciousness and nobody else. Tesham, of them, nityabhiyuktanam, who are constantly united. Yogakshemam, vaham, I bring every possible good. The word Yogakshema is quite a strange word. It's all used all the time. It's very mysterious. Every time it can be translated differently. Unfortunately, yeah. So kshema is from word kshi, to dwell. So everything which has to do with dwelling and with so to say, things which are surrounding us, environmental. So the house, everything in the house around us, yes, on the horizontal level, as it were. And yoga is something which is, in a meaningful fashion, connected to us. So all these two things, we can say, bring every good. Every good which connects us to our inner self. Yeah, I bring to them. So that's what he wants to say. If you totally concentrate upon me, you will get the best environment possible for your life. I will bring it to you. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to work for it. We are always worried, and we work for our environment and our house and our money and our position, work, job. We congratulate each other when we get a job. We congratulate each other when there are 10 years of a job, anniversary. We are totally, how to say, dedicated to Yogakshema ourselves. But there is another way to concentrate on the Supreme, and everything else will come. It may not come immediately. It may come later. This one should know. By the way, Mother and Sri Aurobindo speak about this. Sri Aurobindo is very severe about this, especially about sadhaks who demand from the mother immediate results of their own comforts and so on in ashram, which she couldn't provide immediately. She needed time. So they criticize the mother. And Sri Aurobindo says that their demands are egoistic. They do not see the usefulness of their position in the ashram right now. And they demand all the comforts that what they expect and are used to, in the outer world, to have in the ashram. And he says, if mother is failing to provide immediately all their expectations and desires, then they criticize the ashram and say that she is no divine. She didn't do the miracle to provide everything they want uh, at once. So this is a very egoistic position. So here also there is a very interesting thing. He brings the best for their own self-development, the best conditions, kshema, surrounding milieu, environment, for yoga, for the inner connection. So if we don't have something, for example, we don't have enough money or even food, we can take it as yoga kshema, because we are totally concentrated on the Supreme. So the Supreme through us wants to experience that state of consciousness in fullness. Somewhere Sri Aurobindo says this also. If you are born into poverty, you're poor, don't have money, don't have anything. No education, no money, no perspective of getting anything from society. Then, he says, you should enjoy the state of consciousness in that poverty. There is a joy in it. Now, to find that joy, it is really to be connected to the divine. There is no other way. You don't have to have much. We already see this. We can clearly see that in simple life, with a very basic environment, with basic food, with water in the well, with bread being baked at home, you can live a very happy, very deep and spiritual life. I'm not calling for that. I'm just saying that the divine is present in every minute way of being. Yeah? So it is not that you, once you're connected to the divine, you will get the riches and the extras and the money in the bank. No, not like that. Not necessarily. But it doesn't mean that you will not get it. You may get it enough, but it doesn't mean that that is the way how divine works. Yeah? It's not the human way.
But are you saying that the choice of dwelling, living conditions is conducive to the best possibility for experiencing the divine?
Yes. And the divine also wants to experience that particular state of consciousness, to live in poverty, to live in the freedom of not being caught by creating the environment, as many of us are caught into the job mentality, into the saving mentality in the bank, into investments mentality. We are all invested in some way of kshema which we build, not the divine. Somewhere Mother says real surrender is then when you, how to say, you surrender all your responsibility for your life, you give to the divine. Can you imagine? You give the responsibility for your life to the divine. What kind of life you may have. You put on the divine shoulders all the responsibilities for what is happening to you, and then trust it and go with it, whatever comes. This is a very, very serious shift. And by the way, there are no compromises in this way. Sri Aurobindo says in this yoga, in the integral yoga, and integral yoga is Purna Yoga of the Gita, he says that to have any other aim in life other than the divine makes the success in this yoga impossible. So if we have some other aims, something else we want to get, something else we want to build up, to experience, and so on, the success in this yoga to reach, to realize the divine becomes impossible. It needs an overwhelming concentration, ananya, Chintayantomam, who are focused on me totally without any deviation. This is what he says. If it is not ananya, not without the other, then
is it then a concentration of the mind, or what does concentration mean in this sense?
yeah, here he says thinking, yeah, chintayantah, who fix out their consciousness, because mind is actually concentrating our consciousness. It is the power of concentration. So those who concentrate on me and not anybody else, yeah, they are being totally, constantly, uninterruptedly united.
So also vital mind, body mind, all the mind parts, which are not only
Yeah,
the mental.
once mental is fixed, vital will follow, physical will follow. The problem is with the mind. You cannot hold the mind there. The vital will come and knock it out and will say, wait a minute, yeah, I want this, and mind will follow the vital. Or the body will come and say something, and the mind will follow and start thinking how to satisfy the body. But if the mind is not giving up on this concentration, then eventually all other forces will follow. Vital and physical will follow the mind. It has a power over them. It's quite a known thing, yeah? The mind has a power over vital and physical. But when the mind is weak, cannot concentrate, cannot hold on to it, or the other powers are too strong and knock out the mind from its concentration, that's where the problem starts. And it is going on for many years in our lives. We can see how we fluctuate, yeah? How our mind fluctuates. And then you start analyzing our mind, you will see that the mind cannot even hold for a second on one concentration on one object or word or feeling. Cannot. 2 seconds is too long for the mind to hold. Or try. Close your eyes and hold onto one thought or onto one dot, onto one word, more than 2 seconds. You will feel how mind jumps back and forth immediately within. You cannot smoothly hold it. It is like boom, 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 boom. It doesn't want to stay. Yeah? It fluctuates.
So when I do this, then I say mother, 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 and my heart beats, which I can hear, say mother, mother, mother. And we try to put as many sensations towards the mother, but it's true, it's the same. You can feel that the mind is always a little off.
Yeah.
Little.
You can put one sound. Mother, mother is every sound. But you can put om, and you will see within that om all the time, because it cannot really hold smoothly to one concentrated point. This is the problem with the mind. So the who, without any interruption, totally fixed upon me, yeah, he is Nityabhiyukta. He is the constantly united, and to him I bring the Yogakshem. I'm just exaggerating a little with mind. I'm saying that it is not a simple thing to hold mind in one concentration. The whole Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the whole technique is about this: how to hold steady the mind, nothing else. All 8 stages, one by one, are only leading us to this capacity of the mind to hold, to concentrate. I will explain why we cannot concentrate. It's very simple, because there are indriyas. Indriyas. there are senses which are pulling the mind in every direction possible. Seeing, hearing, feeling in the body, in the sensation, everything is constantly fluctuating. And so the mind is pulled in all different directions. All our troubles, what we were thinking, what we were desiring, what we were fearing, everything comes as the force to obstruct or to deviate the mind from being focused on one point. All our life is behind to obstruct us. Yes, Lynn, you're saying something. Okay, to possess, to have power over, to rule, to govern. Yeah, from here, kshaya, kshat, maybe even kshatra, kshatriya, ksheti, to abide, dwell, reside. From here, this kshema. Yeah, yeah. There's another kshi where, yeah, for house. Kshayati, it will be to kill, to injure, to destroy, to diminish, to decrease, and destruction. So these are the roots. All right. Sorry to be so long with this. I will come back in a minute. Here we are.
Well,
So, but
and I was looking in the spoken Sanskrit, and it wasn't, it isn't organized that way. So I'll try. For future searches, I'll try the Monia Williams, see what I get.
Yeah, look at this. Kshema is giving rest or ease or security, because it is this basis or foundation, yeah? Residing, resting, abiding, kshema. Placed, safety, happiness, yeah? Rest, enjoying, acquiring that environment which is conducive to our own self. Yeah? Yogakshema is another word. Let me type and see. It will be here. It will be the security or secure possession of what has been acquired, keeping safe of property, welfare, prosperity. Yeah. A very, very strange word. Huh? And it is mentioned all the time, Yogakshema. It's like some kind of mysterious word which gives us the yogic environment for safety and happiness. Yeah? So when you follow the Supreme, the Divine, you will have that environment provided by the Divine. It will be given to you. It may be not what people expect. They expect big bank account. Maybe it will not happen. But if you need this money to do the work, it will come. But it will not come to how to say, to help you to indulge in anti-divine behavior, in the selfish behavior, in the selfish life. But even then, if this selfish life is needed for certain realization, for certain understanding how the divine works, it will be there, given to you. It's very weird. It's like the divine knows better how you have to progress and how you have to discover the inner self. And in that sense, of course, it can be even that. Sri Aurobindo speaks in the very beautiful poem which is called the Rishi. He says that the divine wants you to engage with the world, to enjoy the world, to create your world, to make your own mistakes. Why? Because you will have to be real. It's not a religious dogmatic spiritualism where you will be kind of believing and not living. No, you have to live. You have to experience everything. So, but there has to be this search for the highest in what you do, for the presence of the Supreme in it. And then it will be provided. You will be led by the way, on the way. Okay, so this Shloka 22. Shloka 23. Ye api ye piyanya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayan vitaha tepi mam eva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. This is a very absolutistic statement. Those who are devoted, dedicated to other gods, sacrifice to them with faith. They actually, O Kaunteya, sacrifice to me, but without knowing it. Avidhi purvakam, not in according with the true law. Vidhi is law, avidhi is not in accordance to the law, purvakam. So they do it, and it is still coming to me, but they think that they do it to other godheads, to some lower gods, lower aims. They think that they sacrifice to somebody else than the Supreme, but the Supreme is behind them and takes all those sacrifices anyhow to himself through all those lower gods, smaller gods, to whom this sacrifice is being made, but with Shraddha, with faith. If Shraddha is not there, then it's something else. So here he justifies all the religions, all possible godheads, idols, murtis, temples. Yeah? You can, even atheism, everything is being justified here. You can do it with faith. If you are atheist, scientist with faith, you are doing the sacrifice to the Supreme. If you are only imitating, if you don't have faith, if you are not involved, then it is something else. It's not the sacrifice. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhur eva cha natumam abhijananti tatvenata shyavanti te. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta, because I am the one who enjoys all the sacrifices. And Prabhurevacha, and I am also the Lord of the sacrifice of the world. Natumam abhijananti, but not many, or they do not know me, do not recognize me behind them. Tatvena atah chiyavanti te, and therefore, in the essence, they fall from it away. It is I myself who am the enjoyer and the Lord of all sacrifices, but they do not know me in the true principles, and hence they fall. If they would know that behind that what they do, behind those smaller devatas of science, of truth in physics, chemistry, history, whatever, there is a divine enjoyer, then they would not fall from what they do. They would succeed in their own movement towards him. But since they do not know that he is there behind every subject, they fall back. For them it is not totally real. So the reality is given to every subject through the presence of the divine behind. We can feel it also. We can notice this, that once in a while everything loses its meaning. Yeah? We can see that all things, all events which are in our life, which we meet and we have in our life, are not totally real. That means in that moment of time we lose our connection with the Supreme. But when we have the connection, everything becomes meaningful. Yeah? The smallest event becomes totally meaningful because he is behind it. There is a difficulty for our mind. Our mind cannot totally take this in, because it cannot see that behind every event, not excluding any other event, all events, all the movements, there is a one enjoyer and the Lord of that event. And whatever it is. Yeah?
The word fall, what does it imply?
Chiavanti means they fall back. They do not stick to that what they do. They do not grow through that. For them, it is becoming a means for something, and not really for something else than the growth of consciousness. They are doing it because they get something, and by getting that, they get something else, and by getting that, they get something else, but they never come to themselves through that doing. It's like you need thing, more money to buy computer, to do the work, to get the money. So it's like a vicious circle in which everything is already there, but it doesn't come to you. Because you do not recognize behind every movement and action the presence of the bhokta, of the one who enjoys all this. But once you recognize his presence, every action becomes a sacrifice, and then it becomes a powerful tool for your change and growth of consciousness. Everything can be the tool. But I mean everything, really, because nothing here is not him. So if he is recognized behind every movement of consciousness, cooking, sleeping, walking, thinking, feeling, everything, if you can feel his presence, if you could feel his enjoyment through you, present in you, then you cannot fall from what you do. Everything is becoming the growth within you of yourself. Your inner self is growing and occupying your outer empty shell. The empty world becomes fulfilled and meaningful. Then you don't fall. Otherwise, it stays empty and you fall back because you are not there. It's not really for you. It's for something else. That's what we feel all our life, that we are waiting for real life, as if we are sitting on some kind of luggage at the railway waiting, all the time waiting to go somewhere finally. And that is exactly that we do not really live every moment. We have to live and feel his presence in everything. And it is possible to live such life. Then doesn't matter what you do. The smallest and the biggest thing is equally the same for him, because his presence is the thing which is fulfilling everything. You can sit on the road with nothing, as it is in India, these poor people, and feel his presence and be blissful in the bliss as you would be, I don't know where. Or you can live in the palace and feel nothing, empty and psychologically disturbed, have anxiety attacks, and speaking to some psychotherapist every hour. How difficult life is with your millions on your account. So, because you don't have him anymore, And your millions will not help. They will just lead you into bigger difficulty. But when you have him, everything changes. Then you don't fall from the world in which you are. You are sticking to it. You are part of this event. It's fulfilling you.
But this presence is also intoxicating in a way. You become very relaxed and you're not acting by yourself, so to say.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You're not acting anymore by yourself. You gave to him the responsibility for your life. You you put on him and say blame him for everything. If he wants you to die, yeah, you are ready to do it because the presence which you experience is so overwhelming that dying is blissful. Yeah? And so there is no contradiction anymore. Dying and living, everything is a very small difference between the two because he is there. So once he is there, everything makes sense. Dying and living makes sense.
I understand what you say about this because this is how I experienced it when I was deeply into the presence, when I came to Norway and everything. Things happened. I double booked. One was calling and saying, you have to shift the meeting. I was too late. So what you are saying that when we get to live in the presence is the same as giving the responsibility to the divine. It's not different. It has nothing to do with your words. Now I give this to you, divine, to take care of it. No, it's the same as giving the space in yourself for the presence.
And you're right, this is intoxicating. It gives you the delight which life cannot fulfill. But with that delight, the fulfillment in life becomes really triple or quadruple or much more powerful. If you have means and tools to fulfill in life his presence, it is becoming much more powerful than, for example, you live without him with means, or you live with him without means. Many people, preach that we have to leave this life because it is leading us away and get out from here to some kind of mountains or caves and sit in those caves and get the realization of his presence, and that's it, and go into it. I don't think so. I think he is everywhere, in everything here. And that's the beauty of this life. Yeah? You don't need to go to the cave for this. Cave may help to concentrate, yeah, and maybe you will be more successful, but or faster successful, but it will not solve your problems of life. You have to find him in life, in everything, in what you do, what you think, what you feel, what you will, what you wish.
Yeah, well, I would wanted to comment. I've been thinking of my experiences this month. You know, you've met me, but my husband is his gift seems to be in the ability to deal with motor vehicles to an astounding degree. But to get, when he gets depressed, when he's low, the very best thing is to give a vehicle or give repair of a vehicle to someone, and then all of a sudden all the joy happens. And it's really quite amazing to see the process, you know. But sometimes he needs a little help to get started.
Little push, little encouragement. Yes, but that's exactly the joy of giving. It's the joy of the sacrifice. Yeah, you let go and you make somebody happy. This is a profound happiness in it, the divine happiness in it, the freedom and the joy of sharing the world, sharing the delight of the world with others. Uh, and yeah, you cannot buy it, you cannot make it otherwise. You have to do it. Yeah. It's not the thing like food you bought and ate and you're happy. No, you may eat all the food, but you will never be happy that much. Yeah, it's quite interesting in which world we live, what kind of psychological mm, state we are in. So he is the bhokta of all the sacrifices, and he is the lord of them. And those who sacrifice to do not know him, they, in this sacrifice, they fall back and they do not stick to this event, to this activity as their own sacrificial change. That becomes dogmatic, mechanical, for some other reason. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitri vrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti mad yajino pimam. Those who sacrifice to the gods go to the gods. Those who sacrifice to Pitris go to Pitris. Those who sacrifice to Bhutas, to the spirits of nature, go to Bhutas. Those who sacrifice to me come to me. This is Bhakti Yoga. Here we need to have faith. We need to have love. The sacrifice is the love sacrifice. And it's quite interesting because it's very true. If you sacrifice to one particular way of being, which you know as gods, some kind of higher capacities of consciousness or faculties, you will get there. Yeah? If you sacrifice to Pitris, to your forefathers, to your ancestors, to your lineage, to your dogmatic way, cultural way of being, you will become it. If you sacrifice to the spirits of nature, you believe in some science or occultism, you will come to them. You will share with them your consciousness. And they will fill you in, and you will be them, one of them. You will be representing them in your consciousness. You will know them, you will live them, experience them. And if you focus yourself on the Supreme, you come to the Supreme. So we have this capacity to go wherever we want and become whatever we want. We can be as gods, as Pitris, as Bhutas, or as the Supreme. Somewhere Sri Aurobindo says also very beautifully, I wasn't a poet, he says, but I made myself a poet. I wasn't a philosopher, but I made myself a philosopher. This making oneself is the sacrifice. You can sacrifice to the gods and make yourself as gods. Share with them your consciousness or their consciousness within yourself. You will have all the aspects of their consciousness within you. I was giving before the example of violinist. Yeah, the violinist sacrifices his life to the violin and to the music. He plays violin from when he is 6 years old every day for many hours. for many years until he comes to the level where he can embody the state of that music. Now, to come to that, he has to sacrifice his life in every aspect. So this is the law of the sacrifice. If you want to become something, you introduce that consciousness into yourself. And that is the sacrifice.
I was thinking, we spoke about that life here is also, it's something that made sense to me now, was that we are here to learn to love everything. But we are here for him to love everything. It's not about us as individuals liking, disliking. And the sacrifice is exactly this attitude towards action in life. To find in oneself the positive will for everything, whatever it is. As you say, you can be poor and see the world as beautiful and interesting, and all life has a level of things you can find interesting.
Mm.
You can turn your attitude towards. And with right attitude, it's the invitation, no? For the divine to be present.
And every position has a very specific advantage. For example, if you are not poor, and you, for example, I went today in Paris, and I went to a bakery and very nice places. And if you are concentrated on, you see those people who are owners of these places, you can see how they depend on these places. They totally, how to say, bound to a particular modality of action. If you're poor, you don't have this bondage, yeah, with what you do. You have totally different perspective. You may enjoy it differently, with freedom, with the look which they cannot have. So there is, in every position, there is an advantage of the divine look, a very unique look. Because in the position of the owner and in the position of the person who comes to the bakery to buy bread, and in the position of the one who cannot buy bread and stands there and begs for some paisa to get some bread, yeah? And these three positions, all of them have a unique advantage. Yeah? And this is what is beautiful about it. The divine is present there. I'm just suddenly, I see the freedom of consciousness within every embodied being. Yeah? And the positioning in the society is very relative to this consciousness embodied in the being. Yeah? But if it is not there, it is not there. So you can be poor without the divine look, and it doesn't make you better than that one who is rich without the divine look. You will be on the same level. Yeah? You will be fighting for some social advantage, and that's it. We are speaking about this presence within you, and then it changes quite considerably any position. Any position becomes, how to say, uh, unique and adventurous. You you can have much knowledge from that position of the divine. You can learn about him immensely if you have in any position. That's what I want to say. So our social status, money, relations, everything is very relative.
I was thinking about also as a story about a woman in Norway. She lived up in the mountain, alone actually most of the year, and she had only a few goats, and she was so happy, and she felt so good.
Mm.
And I said, and she became so terribly old. So they asked her what was the, why do you become so old? What do you think is important to be able to become old, be as good as you? And she said that to be uh, seeing the world in such a way that you feel happy and you laugh. And she was in a way only expressing that you had to be positive. You had to naturally be positive. Because then everything was going well and you had to be kind. So it's a kind of invitation for the divine, and I suppose the divine wants to stay long in a body that invites and takes care of it.
And here, yeah, Sri Krishna continues, and I will stop in a second. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati, the one who gives to me with bhakti, with love, adoration, the fruit, the flower, the leaf, the fruit, the flower, and the water, whatever. Doesn't matter what is given. Matters that it is given with love and adoration. Tadaham bhakti upaharitam ashnami prayatatmanah. And that I partake with happiness, with enjoyment, what is given to me with love, because that love is important. And there was a story about old friend of Krishna when they studied together, and he lived a very poor life with his wife. Krishna didn't know about him. He was a king after that. But the one was his friend was living very poor life, and his wife said, "You maybe go to Krishna and ask for some help." He was Brahmin. So he took. They made for the last money they had. They made this rice with some cashews, something which they don't eat, but for Krishna, the offering, the food for Krishna, for the king. These poor, in the hut, they made this, and he went to him. And when he approached the throne, how to say, he fell down, and that rice fell on the ground all over in front of Krishna. Krishna jumped from the throne, ran to this person, and started eating all the rice from the floor. He recognized the offering. That was the offering with love. That is the food for the divine. And when he returned home, he was already, all his situation economical was changed. But this is an interesting story, reaction of Krishna to that fallen rice.
That is why you, when you are in most despair, the answer is given. And it's because that is also truth in it. You go there with the truth in yourself, not because your ego needs it, but the situation is such that it is really true to your heart and your mind that you need this.
Yeah, I think so. Here is, of course, they gave their best they could. They put everything into it. The last thing, it is very poor rice for the king, but he jumped on it as if it was the best food in the world, because he recognized it.
It says, whatever energy of tapasya, make it an offering.
Yeah. All right, we have to stop here because I have another engagement. So we will start with 27, Yat Karoshi, what you do, what you eat, what you offer, what you give, that to do as the tapasya, what you to make as tapasya, that make as offering to me. Yeah. This is a very important shloka. We will come to it and look into it from the next time. Okay, I'm closing with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavanto Sukhinah Sarve Santo Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyanto Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste.